Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Martial Body session. This week we're going to be continuing our approach to connected body, and we're going to be focused on the spiral body this week, okay? And what I'll need you to do is get hold of a length of material, a belt, a martial arts belt is perfect, a piece of rope or something like that. Something that's a good couple of meters long would be ideal. We're going to be using this later in the session, okay? So as I say, we've been working on the connected body now for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, I think, and hopefully you're all starting to really feel the connection happening in the body. This week we'll be working with that cross-body line, or the spiral line as it's known, and this is a really important line of connection for various movements in the martial arts. If we think about any sort of a throw where one side of the body is pulling, the other side leg is forward, even if we bring our legs together, we're often utilizing that sort of spiral or cross-body line. If we think of any sort of punching where we have one hand and foot forward, gyakutsuki in karate, or whether it's a cross-body strike like this, again, that cross-body line or spiral line is super important to those sorts of movements. So understanding this sort of wrapping, twisting, coiling power in the body is very important. And what we want to do is build the connections of the muscles, the tissues, the tendons, the ligaments, the white tissue, so that this is a line that works in harmony whenever we need it. And we need it quite often when we do martial arts, okay? So make sure you've got a piece of material, pause the video. If you haven't, go grab something. Again, a martial arts belt is perfect, something about that length, something that's quite robust and it isn't going to snap. So a piece of rope is also very appropriate. All right, let's get on with the session today. We're going to start with a standing assessment. So just stand completely naturally and feel or assess the body. Just perceive what's going on. And we're going to contrast that against the end of the session. Okay, right, so what we're going to do to start with is work our way up the body. We're going to wake all the tissues up. We're going to do a few twisting and turning movements, all right? And then we'll get into that cross-body or spiral line connection work. So we're going to start rocking forwards and backwards on the feet, waking up our connection to the earth. So feel the weight, rock forwards and backwards into the toes and into the heels. At this point, if you're not only just joining us, you would have done this exercise plenty of times. But to reiterate, we want to move our weight nice and smoothly through the foot and feel the mass touch every part of the foot. So the foot is very much alive and awake. Let's make that smaller and smaller. Now let's move our mass side to side. So nicely, smoothly move the mass, the center of mass across, side to side, allowing the weight to drop through the foot. Smaller and smaller, come to the center. Okay, let's move the knees backwards and forwards. So you can really bend down and straighten, but try not to lock out at the end of the movement. Okay, just load up that knee joint. Make sure everything's working properly in there. Okay, very good. Come up. Let's rotate the waist. So circles with the pelvis. Nice and big. And change direction. Legs out a little bit wider than shoulder width, and we're going to turn side to side. Make sure you get a nice stretch into the hip as we do this. You should feel that the side that we're turning into, we're folding into that inguinal crease area. We're opening up the other side. Let's turn around to go to the side and stretch out the front of the thigh. Swap over. Nice and controlled. Make sure you get a nice stretch. Okay, come up into the middle. Let's rotate the arms. Nice big rotations. Stretch all of those tissues. Make sure everything's rolling around properly. Reverse the direction. Okay, elbows, rotate. Change direction. Other side. And change. Okay, let's just start shaking the body. So pulse through the body, allow the tissues to shake. Send that pulse all the way through. You can shorten that pulse down to a very small vibration or make it nice and big. Okay, just stand still for a second. We're going to start slapping the body. So, arms first. Other side. Make sure you're penetrating down towards the bone. Body. To the legs. Back up to the body. Focus on the working center. Now just take the fingers, drum the head. Face, gentle. Okay, let's move on to rubbing the body. So hands first. Make sure the fingers are nice and alive. Then start rubbing the skin of the arms. Move the flesh around. Body. Lumbar area, down into the back of the legs. Move the thighs about. Back up. Focus on the working center a little bit. Okay, let's just stand for a moment. I want you to begin setting the frame, so we're going to be centered in the feet, knees slightly bent, hips in the center, not kinking forward or back, legs nice and relaxed, abdomen soft, lower back flat, head pulling up, chin tucked in, shoulders in the center of the body, elbows heavy, hands open and alive, chest, natural position in the center. Now we're just going to do some twisting work, okay? This is going to help to liven up things. So what I want you to do is just shift your weight and move your one leg out slightly wider. So we're not super wide, okay, but we're slightly wider than shoulder width. What we're going to do now is turn our body. So we're going to think about turning the trunk of our body around. And as we do that, we release the leg of the side that we're turning towards and allow that to turn out. So it's a high dragon position. Okay, so I'm turning as much as I can with my torso. Turned my leg, front leg out, back leg is going to the ball of the foot, and then I'm just going to incline slightly forward. Okay, slightly forward. So it's like I'm trying to twist around away from my back foot. My top of my head and back of my foot are two areas of focus. So twist, and then come back, and onto the other side. So I turn my torso as a priority, allow the front leg to open, ball of the back foot, twist as much as possible, and then incline. We'll feel a pull through the back of the front leg, sort of through your butt up into your back. We want to think about twisting our shoulder line around. And back. Again, other side. Turn, twist as a priority, and then incline. Feel the stretch. Back onto the other side. Turn, incline, stretch. And back, one more time on the other side. Turn, incline and stretch. And back. Onto the other side. Turning the torso as a priority, remember. And back. Okay, so now it's same exercise, okay, but this time I'm going to use my hands as well. So the side that I'm moving towards, so in this instance I'm going towards my left leg is toeing out, my torso is turning around and I'm inclining. My left hand is going to push back like I'm trying to touch the floor next to my back foot. Okay, so it's pushing back and down. If I do it on this side, okay, I'm in this position here. Okay, I'm pushing back towards the floor. And it's sort of in line with the direction between my top of my head and my back foot here, okay? Now the other hand is going to reach forwards and away. So palm of that hand is overturning, so my fingers are facing the direction that I'm turning. And I'm pushing with my palm and I'm pushing with the other palm here, okay? Like this. And then we simply just come back through the center, okay? So, onto the left side first. Torso is turning as a priority. Turn, toe out, palm goes forwards, palm goes back, and we stretch. And at all times we want to feel that softness in connection, the stuff that we've been doing the last few weeks. Feel that we are extending all the time, taut body state. And we stretch as much as possible. And as you come back through the center, just allow the hands to sit in front of the body, and then we go on to the other side, okay? So we twist, extend, and look. Stretch through the body. Twist. And back. Onto the other side. Stretch. Really try to twist. Feel the pull around the body between front hand and front foot. So across the body, onto the other side. So it feels like the front leg is twisting out. And as I turn my torso, I feel this pull up from the front leg, that toeing out leg, to the hand that's in front as well. So around the back. It's like a rounding of the back from this foot to this hand. Okay? So as I turn out, I feel this stretch from my front hand all the way from my front foot, around the back, through that lumbar area of the spine. Change. One more. Stretch. Make sure that feeling of connection is there. Everything is stretching. And on the opposite side, so keep going, what I feel from the front leg to the front hand is a stretch around the body. I feel like this is moving up and around to the front hand. On the opposite side, I feel a stretch on the front of the body, like this is happening through the front. And that's what's causing this to go back and forward, okay? That's how we feel the connection. So, change sides again. And stretch. All right, come back to the center. Just hold the position, stand still. So you should be able to feel a very strong sense of stretch from the front leg, that toeing out leg, to the front arm, okay? Because we're making a very long, extended position. So it should be quite clear. Now we're going to make that more compact. We're going to do a dragon, but without that deep lean, okay? So as we do it this time, we are aiming to feel the same sort of cross-body connection. The stretching of the front of the body on one side, the pulling and stretching on the back of the body on the other side, okay? So it's like a cross. This side is stretching, back is stretching, okay? So same thing, same basic movement, but we stay nice and upright this time, okay? So the head's pulling up to the ceiling. We're going to focus on turning our torso and releasing our front leg as we do so. So we release the front leg and turn. And now what I want you to focus on is turning your torso around so that you're stretching your shoulder away from your hip on both sides. So the rear shoulder is stretching away from the rear leg. The front shoulder is stretching away from the front leg. Front shoulder is from the back, so I feel like around the butt, up through the lumbar spine, and out through my front shoulder is stretching. And I feel like from the front of my hip and up to my shoulder and all the way through the leg is stretching on the rear sides, okay? So rotate and twist. Feel a strong pull through the body, a strong twist force in the body. Change. Pulling up all the time and twist. And again, we want to feel that this connection, this springy, twisted spiral force in our body is not tension. We're not compressing as we do so. We're leading up and twisting, and that's going to help us. Change onto the other side. Twist. Your body's going to feel very wrung out at the end of this session. All this twist force. It's a really nice sensation for the torso. Change. Okay, come back, change onto the other side. This time, hands are going to be going straight. So rather than pushing up and pushing down, we feel like they're going straight forward and back, okay? So we turn our torso, we push straight forwards with our front hand, and we pull back with our back hand. It's very online like this, okay? Rather than wide or open, okay? So here, push and pull. Feel that stretch go all the way to your fingertips, around the body on both sides. Really lead with the hand, stretch away from the central channel. Everything supported by that center as we rotate. Change sides. Bring your hands towards your chest, onto the other side, and push. Extend. Feel the body wrap around Everything nice and secure and strong. Remember, this is connection training. We're trying to associate these tissues together, not just make them stretch. We want to actually feel them, put our mind into these tissues, extend through them. Change sides. Stretch as much as you can. Up through the top of the head, press the feet to the floor. Feel this wraparound power in the torso. Change sides. Other side, stretch. And one more repetition, so we go through. Other side, stretch out. Really stretch. Switch. And come back to the middle. Just stand for a moment. Relax and let the training release a little bit. Okay, let's grab our belt or rope or whatever you have. Okay, and what we want to do is keep tension in the belt. Okay, so this floppy thing that we're holding, we want it to be nice and tight. Okay, that's sort of the principle behind what we're going to do with it. If it's floppy, it means that we're not connected. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is a simple round body exercise. So we can go around the back, roughly in the middle of the back. Okay, so we're not down at the lumbar area, we're roughly in the middle. Okay, and then get to the point where your hands, your elbows are slightly bent like this. Okay, so I'm not locked and I'm not completely bent, I'm just slightly bent a little bit like this, you see? Fists are facing vertically, and what we're going to do is bring one foot forwards, okay, and the opposite hand forwards. So I'm going to bring my left foot forward slightly, just slightly, and my right hand forwards, okay? And as you do that, what I want you to do is turn your torso and extend through that front hand. So that front hand is pulling on the back hand, okay? So I extend through my torso, lead up in through the head, and I want to feel that there's an engagement in this area of the body. This area of the body starts to engage as I do that, okay? And it should feel like the cross-body connection you were just working. So I push forward, I feel this connection through the body, okay? And then I can reverse. So now I start to push my other hand forward, pull my other hand back, and I feel that round body or cross body connection here. So my front hand feels like it's stretching away from my back foot. And then as I reverse, my front hand feels like it's stretching away from my front foot. So it feels like it's round the back to get to my front hand, okay? And then change. And change. So start to feel like a connection through the working center between the sides of the body. We just change. Now it's important with this exercise that we don't get tense. We just want to have enough tension in the rope or the belt to maintain some sort of connection between the hands. It's not that we're putting all of our force in. We're not making like a strong isometric movement for our shoulders. Okay, we're trying to feel that as we go side to side, there's a round the body or across the body connection. It may be slightly hard to feel initially. Once you get the feeling of it, it feels like as I put my front hand forward, it's coming through from the back, through my lumbar area, through my shoulder, through to my front hand, from this front foot. Okay, and the opposite's true on the opposite side. Yeah? And then as I go back the opposite way, as I pull, it feels like the hand that's going backwards is pulling back and around, and the hand that's going forwards is going up and out. Okay, it's sort of the feeling between the two. You can just change as you see fit. We don't want to hold the end positions too long because we want to feel that sort of swimming cross-body stretch being played with under load. Change sides. So other foot comes forward now. Start with your front hand as the opposite hand to the foot. Extend and change. Stretch through the position all the time, extending and leading and opening your extension. If your shoulders get tired, there's too much power in the shoulders. It should be stretching from the foot to the hand across the body. Just a minute more, or a few seconds more, I should say. Okay, and relax. Relax the shoulders. Okay, so next, this one can look a little bit complicated, okay? So you're going to take the belt, you're going to wrap it from the rear around one of your legs. So from the rear, you see? So I've wrapped it around from the rear, and then I'm going to tuck it under my foot, okay? So it's created like a loop around from the front outside of my foot, around my calf, and then up to my hip, okay? Then I'm going to take it around my back and like it's going over my shoulder. So it's gone from the outside of my foot, inside, back outside, up to here, okay? Now from here, what I can do is wrap it around my arm, okay, like this, or the other way, yeah, like this. Okay, so it goes over my shoulder, then outside, and then I hold it, okay? What I'm going to do is step back with the opposite leg, and I extend along the length of that belt, okay? And what this is going to do is even better if you've got something that's really strong elastic. What it's going to do is teach me that connection between my hand and my foot across the body. And I feel like I can press against the belt with my lower back. I can pull forwards with my hand, and I can feel the stretch from all the way from my foot. So here, stretch all the way through. Feel that you're stretching against the belt, but you're not actually trying to use muscle. You're just stretching, and the more you stretch, the more taut the belt gets. Okay, and that's the more taut your body's getting, because it's extending along that line. Okay, you can make it a little bit tighter if it's too slack. Stretch. You can slacken off and go again. So extend, feel the stretch. And a really interesting part of this exercise is that you can really get the feeling of the stretch in a tiny bit of space. You can set everything up, okay? You can set everything up, and then I feel the stretch already. The belt's getting taut, and I'm hardly moving. Keep extending and stretching all the way from my foot to my hand, around the body. Stretch. Then you can relax. You can go again. Stretch. Okay, let's try the other side. So again, I go between my legs with the end of the belt. Okay, between my legs here. Then outside, and I tuck that under my foot. Okay, so it's gone from the outside, underneath the leg. Okay, then that goes over the opposite shoulder, okay, opposite shoulder, then inside the arm and grab. Okay, so underneath the elbow and then up to the hand. And again, stretch against the belt. Cross body and release. Stretch. And what you want to feel is that every point in the belt is being pulled. Every point in the belt is being pulled taut. So it's not that I pull on my hand and I feel it pulling on my foot. Every point along the belt, so where it contacts my leg, where it contacts my back, where it contacts my shoulder, where it contacts my elbow, every point is stretching. Every point is stretching. So it's like it's stretching away from itself, the tips. The whole thing is pulling taut because of the extension through my crossbody line. One more. Okay, very good. Let that slacken off. Just shake the body out. And we're going to do a final standing assessment. So stand nice and still. Pay attention to the body now. Okay, very good. Thank you very much for joining me today. Cross-body training, okay? You should feel nicely wrung out now. It's literally like squeezing the water out of a towel as you train. And really nice sensation after training for this one. Hopefully that you'll all feel it. Using the belt is interesting because it gives us something to work against, a little bit of resistance that we can use. We can use belts around trees, around posts, and use them for resistance like that. We can use them against our own body, as we just did. They're very useful training tools, so have a play about. You can play about with some of the other ConnectedBody lines and see how they feel. Use them with the Atlas posture and various other things, if you can work them out. But for this week, I suggest focusing on that spiral body line. Very interesting connections and very useful for many, many different styles of martial arts. I will see you next week, where we will continue the last few sessions of the connected focus before we move ourselves on to something else. So hope you have a great training week, and I will see you next time.